If you decide that you wish to try for an organ scholarship at Cambridge, you will be given some oral tests. These consist of dictation of a melody, dictation of a 4-part chorale, the soprano part will be given throughout, recognition and correction of mistakes of pitch and rhythm in a score heard 3 times. A specimen set of oral tests can be downloaded from this link. We've provided a list of resources and tips for developing your ear with these tests in mind. And you can find these suggestions on the Oundle for Organists website and the Royal College of Organists website. So that you know what to expect, Anna Lapwood, Director of Music at Pembroke College, Cambridge, is going to take you through these tests now.
The oral test can be a daunting prospect as you're preparing for trials, particularly if you're not studying music for A-level. Just as you wouldn't hope to prepare a piece in just a month, the proper time must be factored in to prepare for the oral tests. This video is going to talk you through each of the tests individually and give you some hints and tips to help you along the way. The first test involves notating 2 melodies, each of which will be played twice. You'll be given the starting note for each melody along with the time signature and the key signature. There are 2 elements that you need to capture: pitch and rhythm. It's worth isolating these so you're not trying to capture both at the same time. Use each listening to focus on a different element. For example, the first time you hear the melody, perhaps just write the note heads. These don't need to be perfect or neat, but it means that you can check that you've got all the right pitches in the right place. On the next hearing, you can either add the rhythm directly or write it above the stave and then transfer it down once you've finished. When you practice this, remember to practice it in both clefs. Just because you can do it in one clef doesn't mean it will necessarily work in the other clef too. And practicing listening to the bass clef will help you when you're preparing for the second test. As with dictation of a melody, succeeding in transcribing a chorale relies heavily on good time management. You will hear the whole chorale once through, then each phrase will be played twice before the whole chorale is played again. When you first hear the chorale, it's wise to focus your energy on the bass line and try and get as much of that transcribed as possible. If you miss a chunk, try and at least get the bass line of each cadence written in, with a note about the progression. The same principles apply about splitting up pitch and rhythm. Just writing the note heads means you're much more likely to be able to keep up with the chorale as it is played. The note heads are also likely to indicate the rhythms, which will be much simpler than in the previous test. You will then hear each phrase played twice. Focus on the alto part for one of these listenings and the tenor part for the other. Again, just writing in note heads, but making sure that they are lined up with the correct beats in the bass and soprano parts. Use the final playthrough to check through what you have written and make any necessary changes before adding the stems to the note heads. If you get to the end and there are still some bits that you're not quite sure about, then try and make an educated guess. It's better to have something on the page than nothing. The last part of the test involves spotting mistakes of rhythm and pitch in an extract which is played 3 times. Again, time management is key. On first hearing, don't try and identify exactly what each mistake is. Use the time to circle each mistake so that you know where to expect them on your second listening. On second hearing, try and write the mistakes into the original copy, identifying what each mistake is. On third hearing, check what you have written is correct before transferring it onto the second stave. Remember, you don't need to write out the whole extract, just the mistakes. With all these exercises, the key is time management. If you go in and try and write everything down the first time, you probably won't be able to and you'll waste a listening. It's much better to go in with a structured approach. And remember, don't panic if by the end of the exam you haven't got everything written down. The test is designed to challenge you and to push you out of your comfort zone, and there is no pass or fail.